Welcome back to the Grid Aces show. I'm your host, Connor Hall, here with Mr. Football Chase Godey. We are the Grid Aces.
So, a grid ace, or the term grid aces, comes from the early days of football. We're talking 1920s, 30s, 40s, before they had what we now call Pro Bowlers and All Pros. So, they needed a term for a really good football player, and they called those really good football players grid aces. So, Connor and myself, we believe we are grid aces of ball knowledge, and that's where we got the name
Especially when it comes to football. And then we're dabbling into the basketball world a little bit here
from. I'm
and
a
there
casual with basketball.
as we get Chase more and more dialed. Listen, this show is going to be electric, a lot of energy coming your way. I'm obviously on the road. We got a new setup behind us here. Chase in his classic look right now. I almost fell asleep on the way here, but Thursday Night Football woke me up. Before we get into Thursday Night Football recap, though, leave a like, subscribe if you're new, show the boys some love, and let's get this thing growing. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Come check us out. Grid Aces. We got Instagram, TikTok. Those will be down below. But Thursday Night Football was absolutely electric. Now, Chase, to start the first half, as a betting man, I was excited. 13-7, Rams were up, and there's always recency bias, but off top of head, that was the game of the year. That lived up to the hype.
Yeah, I would say for sure with recency bias, that's the best one because the only one that I could potentially argue was week one. But for sure, the best game since
Bills Ravens is
Bills
the one you're
Ravens
thinking
week
of, right?
one. Yeah. So
So
best game in a long time.
Before we get into it,
regardless.
Before we get into you breaking down what ended up happening, what you have the Ravens Bills game over this one?
I mean, obviously recency bias is going to tell me that this one's better. I would have to go back and watch that Bills game and see what I feel, obviously, with both of them like super fresh in my mind because I remember that Bills Ravens one as insane. I would honestly say this one only because of the stakes. Like, you win this one, you control your destiny to the 1 seed. You don't,
Well, dude,
you're likely going to be a wild card team. So the arguably the best team in football is now most likely going to be a wild card because if the Seahawks go undefeated, it's theirs. If the Niners go undefeated, it's theirs. So the Rams are now on the outside banging the doors, and I don't even know what their tiebreaker situation looks like against the Bears. So the Rams went from just being like this freight train that just is clear cut to they might have to win 3 games on the road to get to the bowl, which we know is very difficult.
Yeah, and 3 2-point conversions, 3 for 3 to win the game in overtime. Anyways,
this game is actually it is literally more insane because of the 2-point conversion that I will get into. So it's 13-7 at half. Kenneth Walker decides to just come out here and just make the under look like it was in doubt. Big long touchdown run makes it 13-14. Then the Rams kick a field goal. Normal, 16-14. Then the Rams score a touchdown after they got a pick all the way to the 1, and then that would have made it 23-14. Then they pick off him again, score another touchdown, so now it's 30-14. Game's over. Right? It's 8 minutes left. The Rams are the best team. Good teams know how to close
looking garbage.
Good teams close out teams. And instead, we saw a special teams error. The Seahawks made the trade of the deadline, getting Shaheed to return the punt for a touchdown, and then that stadium was going crazy. Talk about an awesome stadium, an awesome environment. By the way, it's probably in my top 5 stadiums, and I don't really like the Seahawks, but top 5 stadiums.
I hate the Seahawks.
30-20, get the 2 points, so now it's 30-22. They then force their third straight 3 and out on the Rams, get the ball back, go march down, score a touchdown, and they fail on the 2-point conversion. Or so we thought. I literally didn't even see it out of the ordinary, and then all of a sudden you hear, I don't know if it was Dean Blandino or which, head officiating guy it was for who does Thursday Night Football, but he gets on there and he goes, this may be a backwards pass. And there was a Seahawks recovery. Charbonnet just with the most casual, like looks like he's just picking up the ball to go return it back over the sideline and hand it to the ball boy. That's how casual. It's not like they're diving on it.
No, he just grabbed it to be helpful.
So the pass was backwards, bounces off Jared Verse's helmet, kicks forward about 4 yards into the end zone. Charbonnet just walks over there multiple seconds later, picks it up casually. 2-point conversion good, 30-30. It gets even better. Rams are moving the ball, looking like they're going to win it. My kicker in fantasy, doesn't matter because I'm out of the playoffs. He still had a good game fantasy-wise. Misses a 48-yarder to go ahead.
And it looked lined up.
It looked good. Pure. And Al Michaels, who I love, is starting to struggle a little bit.
One of the goats, dude.
He's just starting not to see it quite as clear. I don't know if he needs new glasses, but he's like, he saw some stuff wrong with like whether he thought it was a catch, not a catch. He saw, and then that one he literally, you can hear him saying, like he's about to say it's good. He's like, and he has been really, a miss, you know, and you're like, oh, okay. And then it goes into overtime. Both teams failed to score. Like the Seahawks then had a chance, failed. The Rams had a chance, failed. And then it goes to over. Then the Seahawks fail again. They had like 46 seconds, failed again because both teams are just looking like they don't want it. Then we get to overtime, and both teams want it. Rams score a touchdown. Seahawks go score a touchdown, get a much easier 2-point conversion. And what I love about the new playoffs, and we're going to get into this in the after show, maybe not now is not the time, but the strategy of whether you take the ball first or second, and then every team goes for 2 after they score a touchdown because they don't want the game ended up in tie because there's only a few minutes left in the game, so they won't get another chance.
And they knew if they give the ball back to the Rams, odds are they're going to go score.
Well, their options are score or tie, which no one wants their options. When you have a 50% chance of losing the game or a 50% chance of tying sucks. You'd rather have a 50% chance of losing and a 50% chance of winning. So we'll get into that in a different after show, but awesome game. Lived up to the hype. 1 seat on the line. Thursday Night Football, Amazon Prime will renew their deal with the NFL after that one.
Now, an absolute movie of a game, for sure. The 2-point conversions were beautiful. Rashid Shaheed with the return kick, amazing. But before this game, a little bit of drama, Chase, all surrounding Puka Nacua. Now, first, it comes out that his brother, and forgive me, I'm forgetting his first name, but his brother, thank you, Samson, arrested for stealing an LA Lakers car, or an LA Lakers player's car, excuse me. And then it comes out that Puka, online, comes out with some, apparently he's an anti-Semitic, unknowingly.
Anti-Semite.
Yeah, there you go. Unknowingly said he was going to do some dance, did the gestures, holy it's late. And so yeah, he got really in a lot of trouble for it. He came on, made an online statement about it.
Do you know what he did? Do you remember what he did? Or did you just hear about the gesture?
Puka?
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched the video and stuff.
Yeah. And so you know the guy that told him to do it is Jewish.
Adam Ross.
Yeah, right? He's Jewish.
Yeah.
So that's why it was like kind of like, that's where I feel bad for Puka. Because can you imagine, like, it'd be like if
so why is it bad?
That's almost my point is like he clearly was clueless. He was clearly clueless. And then a Jewish person tells him to do it as a celebration. So that's where I'm like, I get it wasn't like the Jewish person shouldn't have told him to do it. But for somebody that's clueless, right, to like, obviously Puka's probably not like a like savant when it comes to like the things of like the Jewish community. And then a Jewish person tells him like, hey, do this celebration. It's funny. We make fun of ourselves doing it. He's like, oh, okay. Like it must be cool. And obviously I think Puka probably knows how much like Mormons are made fun of and not like at BYU. So he's probably like, yeah, we make fun of ourselves too, Yeah. And then I think it got taken completely the wrong way. So like when there's like, I think there was like a senator, a congressman in California that's like, hey, he needs to be released from the team. I just don't think they have the full context.
And then the other bit of drama surrounding Puka Nacua, he tried to bring Aiden Ross into the facilities, and Sean McVay was not about it, rightfully so. Biggest game of the week. Now, Puka went out and balled. The Rams did lose, though, so maybe it was a little distraction. Maybe it had nothing to do with it. I guess we'll never know. But yeah, so a little drama surrounding the Rams Seahawks Thursday Night Football.
And on a short week, definitely is going to make Sean McVay a little bit more angry with as far as how you're allocating your time during that short week. But a little inside scoop, I've heard 2 rumors about the Samson Nacua story. As you know, I'm located in Utah, went to BYU, so kind of get a little bit of like the former BYU player scoop. 2 stories I've heard. I think the second one's more closer to being true. The first story is that the car was valeted at a hotel where Puka and this NBA player were staying. Don't know how true it is, but apparently, Samson and Puka have a really close relationship, and Samson gets to use his car kind of whenever he wants. And so he goes and tries to valet it. He goes and tells the valet he wants Puka's car. And Puka apparently, proved it, and that the valet just got the athletes confused and gave him the keys to the Lakers player's car. And the reason he got arrested is apparently because he acted up against the cops. Now, the second story, the one that I believe a little bit more, it's kind of somewhat similar where it's just a mix-up, but that they were at a party, right? Because, athletes in LA, or brother of big athlete. Samson's an athlete too. And then they're at a party, and Puka apparently always leaves his keys in his car. And the 2 cars, they're identical, right? And Samson obviously isn't going to know his brother's car like the exact specifications like Puka will.
Probably a little tipsy too.
Yeah, probably was definitely alcohol involved. So he hops in the wrong car, right? Thinking it's his brother's after the game. Maybe both athletes leave their keys in the car. Who knows? Or both, whatever it is. And he goes and he just drives off in the car, and that the Lakers player thinks his car's stolen, rightfully so. And then whatever Puka's brother Samson is apparently just acting up to the cops because he probably thinks he's completely innocent, and probably maybe some alcohol involved, gets arrested for acting up against the cop. But yeah, kind of funny that be careful when you're trying to drive your brother's car. You got to double check and make sure it's yours. So whether it's true or not true, it's the 2 stories that I heard from some inside sources. Call me Adam Schefter.
Now, Seahawks take the 1 seed. This was the battle of the 1 seeds. If you missed out on this game, I feel for you because it was absolute cinema. Now let's move back a little bit to last week, week 15. We'll cover Chiefs are officially dead. We called it in the week before, our episode before. We kind of celebrated the Chiefs being dead, but they had to the Chargers had to move past them in order to make that happen. Now, we actually thought the Chiefs were going to win that game. Turns out, though, Chargers end up winning now. Get better, Patrick Mahomes. You always hate to see players get injured, regardless of the player, but especially when it's a player detrimental to the team. Season's over for the Chiefs. You love to see it. As NFL fans, playoffs are going to be lit now. But I do have a question for you, Chase.
Kind of sounds like you like that he tore his ACL.
Well, I like that the Chiefs are dead. The Chiefs were dead. I mean, he could have led a game-winning drive regardless. So we've brought the man up before. Bowling legend Peter Weber stated, right? Hate me or love me, you watched, right? Now, the Chiefs kind of come to mind when I think of this quote, because every year the AFC playoffs have been electric because I am always hate watching the Chiefs. And then last year I had money on the Chiefs. So now I'm actually kind of rooting for the Chiefs, right? And every year it's been fun regardless because there's so much passion from sports fans into watching the Chiefs lose. Do you feel like with the Chiefs being dead this year, does that make the AFC, I think the playoffs are going to be phenomenal, but does that make the AFC playoffs more or less enjoyable based off?
So for true NFL fans, way more enjoyable. way more enjoyable. And I think the NFL is a entertainment juggernaut that it doesn't matter what happens, ratings and viewership is going to be off the charts no matter what happens, right? Everyone last year was like, oh, it's the Chiefs and Eagles again. I'm tired of this. Most watched Super Bowl of all time. You're like, oh, okay. I'll bet you this year it'll probably be the most watched Super Bowl again. Like, it's just a ratings juggernaut. And from an NFL fan, right, the Chiefs are out of it. And as long as the Eagles don't go 0-3 and the Cowboys go 3-0, the Cowboys are out of it. So if the Cowboys are out of it, the Chiefs are out of it. I don't care what happens at this point. I mean, there's some things that I think would be cooler than others. But for me personally, being an Eagles fan, that's probably the only other team that like has a lot of hatred towards that team in the playoffs from like the NFL at large. But for me, there's no hatred towards them. It's only wins from here on out for me. So I'm going to love it. That's all that matters.
And do you think this is the end of a dynasty, or do you think it's just a delay?
I honestly believe it's the end. And that might be me wanting to believe
they aren't getting any more.
Like, as far as the Chiefs organization will probably get one in the next 60 years. But with Patrick Mahomes at quarterback, I don't think they get another one. My only fear is I think, and people are going to clown me in the comments for this one, but I think Patrick Mahomes has regressed. I'll let you know if they've killed their drafts to see if I retract that statement. But right now, if they don't kill these drafts, they're done.
Yeah, because we saw it with the Golden State Warriors. They were dead for 2 years, but in the same era, they ended up getting another one back in 2022.
Now, and one more thing is they benefited from an extremely weak AFC West. Raiders always sucked. Broncos always sucked. Chargers were bad. Now we've seen for the last 2 years in a row that the Broncos and Chargers, like last year was their coming out party. This year, they're both like, we're good. And it's kind of made it a lot harder, right, to just guarantee 1 seeds or a home playoff game for the first and second round. So definitely worrisome for them. But yeah.
Now on to maybe even more exciting news. Grandpa Rivers returned. Mr. Phillip Rivers back in action. And must I say, he didn't have the most crazy stat line, but I was impressed. They were moving the ball. Now, it was obviously a run-heavy scheme, rightfully so. I mean, you saw the way the man threw. But 27 pass attempts, 18 to 27, pretty good completion rate for, considering. 120 yards, kind of expecting it, but a touchdown. That's what's huge. Got the touchdown. Beautiful, right in the breadbasket to Mr. Downs to take the lead. And he did have an interception, but he had average QBR, a little above average 50, had a 52.3. So shout out Mr. Rivers out there. And they did take the L, though, because Myers.
He's awesome. He's really good. I will say with the Phillip Rivers, it was cool to see. You can still tell that he knows where to go with the football, when to go with it. You can tell that the arm strength really isn't there. There wasn't a whole lot of zip.
Throw past 17 yards. I think 20 is right at the cap.
And I will say his pick was on like the last play of the game when he had to force a bad one, given it wasn't a good throw. It was fun to see. I was obviously right to tell you guys to take the under in that game. Because it was pretty obvious with how the Seahawks offense had been struggling, and then the Colts I didn't think would be an absolute juggernaut because they ran the ball like 20 times in the first half with Taylor. But I will say, when you're 14-point underdogs and you almost win, that's a win. If you cover, that's a win. Good job, Phillip, on the cover.
Yeah, that game was a win in my books. I'm sure it was for you as well, Chase. Let's move into some NBA talk. We got the NBA Cup championship. It was pretty electric. I thought the Spurs were going to win it. They let me down. Knicks end up winning in an interesting game where the Spurs dominated. They had control of the game all game long. And then last minute, Knicks just break away and just really made it to where Spurs didn't have enough time to come back and win. Now, surprisingly, the Knicks will not be hanging the banner up. No, I'm just kidding. It just kind of shows that teams don't really value the cup. But I do think the good thing about the Cup is it is something for players to play for rather than mid-season. Like they get every player, if they win the Cup, they get $1 million bonus, so the players care, which is good. Um, what I want to see from the Spurs is I need Wemby in the paint more. We shouldn't be shooting 5 threes a game, Wemby. Get your 7'4" ass down low. Get to work. I mean, you can drop the ball in above everyone. So I want to see that more. He's having a phenomenal year though. But I want to see more of that. Anything you have to say on the Cup?
Yeah,
I know you're not a fan.
I have 2 questions for you. Well, first question: do the Spurs win if they don't have Wembanyama on a minutes restriction?
Yeah, I think so.
And then I want your thoughts on having a minute restriction in the NBA Cup Finals or whatever you call it.
It just goes to show that teams don't necessarily care as much, which like I mean, it's hard to say with the context cuz like it's good that they did play him even though he was on injured even though he was injured. I think if it was a regular season game, he doesn't play. But if it's the NBA Finals, he's playing.
Yeah.
Right? So it's kind of like a middle ground. So it's like
yeah, it's a good
and bad.
So it's like, but if they want this NBA Cup to be something, players have to be like willing to die for it, right? Like, Jordan flu game, right? They're not missing it when they shouldn't be playing, right?
Yeah, and it'll never get to that because they're not going to risk.
I get it, and that just shows the teams don't care about it, and why I think the NBA Cup has to go. Because if teams don't care about it, like the only reason this game gets more viewership than other games is because it's a standalone game. They don't play any other games on that day. Because I'll bet you if LeBron and Luka were going and playing whoever, you literally could do a whoever, that they're going to take away a lot of viewers from that game. So essentially all they're doing is having a standalone game.
That is a big factor for sure.
So I think they need to get rid of it, or they need to start taking it actually serious. Now, my second question for you, Connor, is the Lakers and LeBron hung a banner. What do you think about them doing that?
I'm so glad you brought LeBron up because I'm about to get into it. I mean, good for them. They I think it's huge that they hung it up, especially, it fits well with all their many other championship banners. I don't really care about the Lakers at all, but LeBron thinks he's doing something, and it's driving me crazy. I've talked to many Lakers fans. I have a friend, we both have a mutual friend, Lakers fan, who is a LeBron fan, but that's because he's a LeBron fan first. Any Lakers fan I talk to, and listen, I live in an area where I would say it's a 70-30 split of who I talk to. Most people I talk to are Lakers, Cowboys, Dodgers fans, right? Like those are their teams, okay? And I ask all of them, I'm like, hey, do you like LeBron? Almost every single one of them says no. Okay? And so LeBron's been kind of on a tear lately. Now, I'm pissed at him because I don't like the way he acted in the Suns game. We'll get into that in a second. But the first thing I want to criticize LeBron for, when we're talking about someone who's looked at in the GOAT debate, what are you laughing at over there?
I'm just loving it.
And he's also looked at as a leader, right? We've had some instances where he's been acting out, and when JJ Redick was hired on as the head coach, this was something that media was concerned about and analysts were concerned about because he was also LeBron's co-host on their podcast. And so is LeBron going to be able to view JJ Redick as an authority over him, right? Or a coach, right? And we're seeing, at least this season, and LeBron's old. He's finishing his career, not this year, probably next year though, right? And he could this year, but it hasn't been announced yet. He just doesn't care, right? There was a Suns game before where the Suns were down 15 or 10, and then they caused 15 turnovers, it felt, in a row, at least in a quarter. They end up going up 20. Lakers lose, and LeBron's over there sitting mid-game when JJ Redick's trying to drop a play during a timeout, or he's calling a play, and then he has to call a timeout because instead of being in the action, LeBron is literally talking to Suns players. Jordan Goodwin, who was a former Laker, talking on the sideline, laughing, having a good time, not even paying attention to the game. Crazy behavior. I don't care how old you are. That is crazy behavior, especially for someone in the GOAT debate. Secondly, goes in, Dillon Brooks hits a what could have been a game-winning three. Bron shoulder checks him on the shot. And he's acting, he acts soft all game with Brooks, right? Brooks goes up to him, gets in his face, and he flops. And then post-game, he gets the technical. Actually, let me just keep going with this. Gets the technical. Now, the Lakers' scheme is any technical foul, who shoots the free throw, Chase?
Probably not LeBron. My guess will be Luka.
Perfect guess, right? Luka's the designated free throw shooter in a technical game. Why? Oh, because LeBron has not been a very great free throw shooter over his career. That's just known. JJ Redick calling for Luka Doncic to go up and take the free throw. LeBron goes and shoots it. And what does he do? He misses the free throw. Okay. So they could have gone up 4 because he also got fouled on a 3. But instead they go up 2, I believe, because he ended up missing the tech, and then he missed one of the three free throws as well. Oh no, they go up 1. So then, 1 or 2, one of the, I can't remember. But so then after the game, he's talking big, right? And he's talking about how, this isn't a game for little boys, and he's referencing to Dillon Brooks and stuff, which I think is funny because he was just flopping all game. But then JJ Redick goes into the presser, and he's talking about, I don't know why Bron went in, shot the free throw. Luka's our designated 1. And then Bron, I mean, the way he responded, just kind of made JJ Redick look like a fool. And so I think his theatrics have been out of hand. He's got to bring it down. He's making LeBron fans look bad. He's making himself look bad. Oh, first time scoring under 10 points this season as well since 2007. Phenomenal record, but maybe it's not a coincidence that it's the same season all these theatrics are happening. So, but he is going to be a grandfather, so shout out to him. Mr. Bronny Jr. just, can't hold it in. Maybe cover up next time, man.
I think that was awesome.
Did you like that?
We rarely get a rant from Connor. And I will say this.
Festering.
I think a lot of what Connor said is valid. I do feel like some of it is inspired from the Lakers winning and the fact that now LeBron is in the West. Because if LeBron had stayed over there in the East, Connor might still be a LeBron fan. But because
I've never been a LeBron fan.
I thought you used to like him. You said you used to have him at number 1.
I used to think he was the GOAT, but I still hated him. I've always hated Bron. Okay.
But now he's over in the West. He plays the Suns a little bit more. So Connor gets to see it a little bit more, and it's a little bit more personal when
it's so personal.
When he's on the team that beats the the team that beats the Suns.
Well, LeBron is the one player in the league that I wouldn't want the Suns to pick up. Okay. Let's move on to back to football. We're gonna bring it to Joe Burrow.
If I want to keep doing this, I have to have fun doing it. I've been through a lot, and if it's not fun, then what am I doing it for?
Seemed frustrating.
There's just a lot of things going on right now.
Okay. After the presser, it came out, kind of reports that Joe Burrow's been depressed. Now, he did unofficially start dating some chick as well. I don't know if that, has anything to do with it. Maybe it's a little distractions. But I think it mainly has to do with the fact that the Bengals have not been winning games. They made it to the 2021 Super Bowl, and then the year after, they made it to the playoffs, but they did lose, I believe, to the Chiefs, right?
I don't think they ever made the playoffs again.
I'm pretty sure 2022 they lost to the Chiefs in the playoffs.
Let's look it up.
Do you remember that huge controversial PI call?
The Chiefs the Chiefs have had tons of those.
Yeah, that's fair.
Let's see Bengals record by year.
I'm pretty sure they did. But even regardless, right? While he's looking it up, since then they haven't really made it far. They haven't after 2022. They haven't made the playoffs.
You're right. They made it to the conference. They made it to the conference championship. So you're right.
Okay, and they were bounced by the Chiefs, right?
Yeah,
in a 1-score game.
And doesn't say the score here, but that sounds about right.
Okay. Yeah, I just remember a controversial PI call or holding, one of the two, that were crazy. And so since then, the Bengals have not won, and it's largely been, in fact, to their defense has been atrocious. Zach Taylor has to go, in my opinion, but also Joe Burrow was hurt a year. He was hurt for most of this year. But week 15 stats, Chase, 25 of 39, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and a 21.4 QBR. After this presser, I don't feel like it's a coincidence.
Yeah, Joe Burrow's been kind of annoying me as a football fan as of late because and I've seen like a bunch of like, reports about like, can the Bengals trade him and get all these first rounders and whatnot. But I'd be very worrisome if I didn't have a good team trading for Joe Burrow for a couple reasons. Because obviously the defense hasn't been good, but he hasn't been able to do anything like even make the playoffs with a bad defense, which is a little concerning to me because there's been a bunch of quarterbacks that, despite poor defenses, have at least made the playoffs, right? Like Mahomes made it that year when they got, like way in the early part of his career when they like the 30th ranked defense and they make it all the way to the AFC Championship game, or like, there's quarterbacks that make it. Like, I'm even thinking of when the Eagles collapsed in 2023. They had the 31st ranked defense, but they still made the playoffs and won 11 games. Like, in my opinion, I just don't think Joe Burrow is necessarily a great leader, a dog, a winner. I think he's someone that is immensely talented, arguably maybe the best, most talented quarterback in the league outside of Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes. But I just would be concerned because we see in the NFL now, there's two ways to win the Super Bowl. You either win it with a star quarterback or you win it with an amazing and awesome team. And we're seeing teams like we watched tonight, the Seahawks. Most people aren't going to come out here and say Sam Darnold, who threw 2 picks last night or just tonight. I guess technically, we're not past midnight yet, so still technically tonight. Like, they're winning because they have an awesome team, because they have good coaching. They have a complementary defense. They have a great run game, right? They have good receivers. Like, the whole team is put together and they can win one, and I know a lot of people don't like Jalen Hurts, and that was obviously an amazing team, right? Mm-hmm. So if I'm a little bit worried because I just don't think he's a good leader. I think he takes a lot of sacks, and I think his head's not in it right now, clearly. And so I'd be worrisome if I was a team trying to trade a whole bunch of first-round picks for him, because I hate to see this much talent not love the game of football and not treat the game of football how it's supposed to be treated. So
he needs a man like Jonathan Gannon showing him the way.
Like, you watch Josh Allen, who's had a terrible defense like for years and years and years, and you never hear anything like this. And the dude's playing in Buffalo. Like, Cincinnati's better than Buffalo, right? No one wants to live in Buffalo. And it's like a pride and a joy and immense amount of gratitude that he has to the game of football, to the Buffalo Bills, to his teammates. And instead, for Joe Burrow, it feels like it's the blame game. Let me blame this offensive line. Let me blame, how bad the defense is. Let me blame. Like, I honestly would be surprised if his team doesn't really like love playing for him, because they get thrown onto the bus all the time, where it's like, dude, like, we got your back, you got our back. Like, that's how it has to be in football. Football's the ultimate team sport. And that's what bothers me about Joe Burrow, because I would hate that as a Bengals fan. Like, there's nothing
I agree
that
entirely. And I know we talked about this a little bit preseason. Preseason, because it was during the summer. Joe Burrow, was considered like one of the players with the most aura in the league, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had a lot of sick clips. He went to the Super Bowl his sophomore year, like he was cooking, And then lately, it feels like he's kind of been tearing himself down, and it kills me because there was a time where Joe Burrow was probably my favorite player in the league. And like, I actually watched, like, I followed the Bengals because the Cardinals suck, but I love Joe Burrow. So I'm also follow the Bengals. They're in the AFC. I don't have to worry about that NFC rivalry. And so it does hurt me because it's like watching the way he's been and his characteristic. And I think it has to do with a lot of you can obviously, if you watch quarterback, you can really tell he's very not immature might be the wrong word, but he's mommy's boy, right? And so you see a lot of that immaturity come out on the field because he's maybe a little privileged, a little entitled, And when things get hard, it's like you said, he wants to blame game and he's not having fun. Dude, you're not going to win your whole life. You have to create the winning, right? So it does suck to see. I'm rooting for him though. Now you did mention trades. Couple teams I do want to see him on. Now, despite everything I just said, I'm always gonna root for him. I would love to see him on the Cardinals. Our quarterback situation couldn't get much worse. Another team that I want to see him on, sneakily, I think it could be fun over in Miami. Give him that those vibes over in Miami. Tyreek Hill, I'm sure, would be a little happier. Maybe they end up keeping him if Joe Burrow comes. And then I think because the issue is with like Miami's offensive line and defense, it's solid enough that I think that offense, they would be really good. Whereas Cincinnati's O-line and defense are just atrocious that it's helpless. And then the other two teams that I kind of like would be sick and be like really talented teams are Vikings. I don't think 9 is a starting quarterback in the league, at least not yet. Throwing to JJ again would be elite. Could you imagine Joe Burrow with Kevin O'Connell?
It'd be nice.
I mean, that's a leader of men right there. I think that's a good person.
And
to have
he's
as a mentor.
quarterback whisperer. Like you can see how he backs his quarterbacks, and then how his quarterbacks back him. I don't think there's anybody that speaks more positively to their quarterbacks about their quarterbacks, and especially just with how he's handled this whole 9 situation. So, I think that could be a fit where maybe you can get him back to finding the way to love football and to be a good leader and be a good teammate and be, someone that young football players can idolize as far as how they treat the game and treat their teammates and players and whatnot. So I like it.
Yeah, and so that's probably my favorite one out of the 3 I listed. Now, a sneaky one I have is the Lions. Joe Burrow and that offense would be insane, bro.
They need defense, Lions. Defense.
No, I know, but Jared Goff isn't winning a Super Bowl.
They've scored. They literally have had like a top 3 offense like every year the last 3 years.
I know, but
and somehow
Jared Goff just doesn't do it for me.
I get
that one's more of like a sneaky. Like that one's not the ones I'm prioritizing, but that one would be fun. Joe Burrow with Amon-Ra, Jameer, like it'd be elite.
The Bengals have failed Joe Burrow. I don't think people think that I hate Joe Burrow. Like they've failed him too. But Joe Burrow also asked for the failing when he's like, I need you to pay T. Higgins and Jamar Chase and then pay me $55 million. And you're like,
and that's a young kid not thinking.
And you're like, okay, opinion, so you know 2 top 10 paid. You can't be dishing out $40 million to 3 positions and then be like, well, why can't I get a good offensive line or defense? Well, buddy, you kind of were asking for that. There's not just unlimited money, and it's like kind of the WNBA conversation where it's like, hey, there's kind of limits to what we can do here, as far as what we can pay players, like the WNBA, like you guys aren't making money. Like we get the revenues where the revenue's at. We need a little bit of profit. We can't have you guys flying in PJs and then pay you guys more money and then we're just losing more. So kind of just, kind of on him a little bit too, but fortunate situation.
I agree. It's both parties. Now, the one thing about it is I just can't picture him outside of a Bengals jersey. So that'll be interesting if he does end up getting traded.
Could you picture Micah Parsons in a Packers jersey?
There you go. Okay, let's get into NFL power rankings after Thursday Night Football. So at least for me, I did consider this game in my rankings as well. I feel like it'd be hard not to.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, let's start off with number 5. Who do you have?
At the number 5 spot, I got the team that I believe is going to be the number 1 seed in the NFC, and that's the San Francisco 49ers. This team,
crazy.
People have been saying, oh, but they've played this team. You only get to play who's on your schedule. And I hope for the people that are saying that, hopefully you guys aren't Patriots fans. The Patriots have only beat 1 team with a winning record, and they just so happened to also lose to that team this year. So I don't want to hear anything about the schedule. You only get to play who you get to play. They've been covering the spread. They've been beating them well and good. And The defense is playing good. I have a couple concerns about their run defense mainly, and then like their effectiveness on like consistently running the ball on offense. But they're getting it done. I think they could have a chance to run the table. It's a team that's been there. They've been to the Super Bowl. The coach has, the defensive coordinator's back. Like, I like this team. And I got them at my 5 spot.
Yeah. When I was looking at the 5 spot, like that's a team I considered. This was the hardest spot.
Oh, for sure.
To put a team. There are so many good teams in the league. It's unreal. Now I ended up going with at my number 5, I ended up going with the Rams. Now the reason I kept them on here is one, we haven't seen the rest of these teams play week 16. So I did factor in it was the 2 top teams in the league. They were both going for the 1 seed. Someone had to lose, right? And so in my mind, I'm probably going to keep one of the teams on my list because I have a ton of respect for them. Seattle might have fallen off just because I don't necessarily believe in them. I also think I thought the Rams played much better football throughout the entire game. I don't know what happened in the fourth quarter. You know, it was just a lack of it was a lack of execution and just getting tackles and, you know, 2-point conversions. You can't allow them to go 3 for 3. And so I think, you know, going forward, any of the teams I have the Rams ahead of, I think the Rams would beat, you know. So that's why I have them at my number 5 still.
So you got the Rams at 5, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, you dropped them a lot more than I would have.
Okay.
My number 4 is another team. And I was just saying this just to say it, but I got the Patriots. You only can beat who's on your schedule. They were up 21-0. And yeah, they had a collapse, which happens, but they're a good team. I love their coach. I love how they're playing football. I have them at my number 4.
I'm so excited because I think our list is going to be so different.
I hope so.
At my number 4, I have the team that came back against the Patriots. Wow. Bills Mafia. You know, they're looking good. They're catching a stride. Josh Allen's playing MVP level. And now they have a shot. All of a sudden, you know, Patriots mess around and go and lose to, I believe they're playing the Ravens this week. Let's see.
3-point underdogs, kind of crazy.
Yeah, I know. I'm hammering. Well, we'll talk about that in a minute. Patriots, Ravens. Patriots mess around, lose this game. All of a sudden, it's anyone's division. So I have the Bills at 4. They're looking phenomenal. An amazing comeback win. I told you guys, take the Bills, -1.5. And it paid off. So I like the Bills here at 4.
I agree with you. I will say the one thing that's concerning, though, is even if the Patriots lose to the Ravens, they still own the tiebreaker against.
Yeah.
Because then all they have to do is go and beat the
2 weeks.
I know, but they have to beat the Jets and the Dolphins. And the Dolphins now have Quinn Ewers.
2 rivals, 2 division rivals.
And so the game that's going to end up hosing the Bills is that blowout loss against Miami, because that's a division loss. And the Patriots only have currently 1 division loss to the Bills, and the Bills have 2. So I even think if the Ravens lose the Bills, it's like, well, they're still getting a home game. You know, they're probably getting the 2 or the 3 seed, like the Patriots still are. So it's like the Bills most likely are still going to be a wild card team. I had to leave them off. They were my 6th seed.
Okay.
And then my 3 seed is a team that I don't necessarily believe in, but at some point, you're winning games against good teams.
You finally have them on here.
I've got the Broncos at the 3. Now, I will say kind of an interesting game because the Packers were kind of in the driver's seat in that one. And I think more cases than not, when you're up, 10, you know, they're in the late third quarter, you probably are going to win most of those. But the Broncos are a team that they rally back. And when we talk about what I was just talking about with the whole Joe Burrow thing, we talk about a team that plays a team game. Like, Bo Nix had a good game, but that's not how they win football. They win football games.
Bo Nix had what?
A good game. But they
I just wanted to make sure you said it.
Anybody can have a good game. 9 had a good game, right?
Bo Nix has been having some good games, though.
Yeah, and I will say he's maybe in the best scheme there could be outside of maybe the Rams, the Niners. Like I put Sean Payton's scheme up there against anybody's, right? So I will say they play the ultimate team game. Great coaching. They have like literally, I think it's the number 1 rated offensive line this year. They got the number 2 defense, right? It's almost kind of how the Eagles won it last year, where it's top 2 defense, best offensive line in football. Like we got an awesome team. We're going to win a lot of games. And because of that offensive line and because of that defense, I got them at the number 3.
At my 3, you might hate this. I've got the Houston Texans. Nobody wants to see that defense. It is unreal. Better than Legion of Boom. And listen, I'm a guy that I'm always on here. CJ Stroud begging to lose some games. And he's obviously had his ups and downs still. But, CJ Stroud doing something. Playing some good ball out there. And the Houston Texans are putting together. I'm loving what I'm seeing from them. And they're, in my opinion, they are going to win the division. And I love what I'm seeing from this Houston ball club right now. Everything's clicking. If it wasn't for the Davis Mills comeback against the Jacksonville Jaguars, we won't be talking about them right now, I don't think. That turned their season around. They're here. The defense is here. I don't want to see them come playoffs.
Yeah, they're my 7 seed. The offense has been pretty bad. And I do think that defense has been amazing. But in order to win playoff
offense
games,
has been better though.
And in order,
it's ramping up.
It has been, but like it's still like not exactly the offense you want to see out there.
No,
I had them as my 7. I actually wrote out all my 10 because I was just so curious where I would have these teams out of my top 5 because it was so hard.
So they were so close.
They were my 7. Now my number 2 is the Rams. Now when Ohio State and Indiana played.
Mm-hmm.
And Ohio State only gets dropped 1. That's kind of what I feel like here. Like,
that's fair.
I think everybody thought these were the top 2 teams. And what we saw from tonight, it wasn't like, oh my goodness, they got blown out. It's like somebody had to win that game. Now, I was a bigger believer in the Rams than I was the Seahawks. So maybe I would have dropped the Seahawks to like 4 or 5 or something. But I got the Rams at number 2. Like, if you went and interviewed every single AFC team and said, hey, who do you not want to see in the Super Bowl? I'm pretty sure that if you hooked them up to a lie detector test and when you said the Rams, and if they said no, that thing would be going berserko.
Yeah.
Like, beep, 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 beep. So I got the Rams at 2. I don't want to see them as an Eagles fan. Like, I was literally rooting for the Rams because I wanted the Rams to be the 1 seed. And then the first time the Eagles see them is in the NFC Championship game. And who knows, maybe we get lucky and somebody beats them before it. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen because we're going to have to probably see them maybe earlier, unfortunately. So they're my 2.
At my 2, I have Seattle. Great game, great performance here. And the only thing holding me back from this team is Sam Darnold. We saw it in this game. Now, he did a great job putting it together when it mattered at most, but that was mainly led, I think, by the spark of Rashid Shaheed's kick return. What holds me back is we saw Sam Darnold last year collapse entirely in the playoffs, and what happened, one of the best teams in the leagues lost in the first round. Seattle, I think they're a better team than that Vikings team we saw, but they do still worry me a little bit in the sense that we have seen the last few weeks Sam Darnold really struggle, and it's getting that time again, and so that's the kind of thing that worries me. Now, not to just be negative on the number 2 seed for me, they play phenomenal ball. That defense, when fully healthy, they do a great job. And the heart that this team has to be down 30-14 in the fourth quarter and to not give up, to convert 3 2-point conversions in the fourth quarter, that it shows insane heart, right? And that's insane attention to detail that these players are out there executing. And so this phenomenal team. I have them 2. The only reason they're probably not 1, and like I said, Sam Darnold, and maybe just a little slight bias for my 1 seed here.
So that segues perfect into my number 1. It's the Seattle Seahawks. And the reason is because this is the ultimate team. They lost to the Rams the first time they played them, and it was a 1-score game, and their quarterback threw 4 interceptions. Tonight, they lost the turnover battle 3-0. Do you want to know how often teams that lose the turnover battle 3-0 end up winning the game?
Probably not very often.
Now, do you know how often it is you lose the turnover battle 3-0 against, at the time, like the unanimous best team in football? It doesn't happen. And the reason is because this is the ultimate team. Great special teams, great run game. They play good defense. They have, the offensive line, I think, is pretty good. They have one of the players. If you guys have watched Anthony Bradford play guard, it's not pretty, but they have good receivers. Their quarterback, Sam Darnold, is the winningest quarterback in the last 2 seasons in the regular season. The man has lost 6 games, and he's won what? Now we're at 27 wins. He's 27-6.
Turning his career around.
The guy is balling. Nobody's been winning more. The guy wins football games. His guys love him. I don't know if you saw that video last year. Do you remember when they beat? I can't remember who they beat, but they're on the locker room, and they're like praising Sam Darnold, like putting him on their shoulders in the locker room. Like, that's what you want to see.
Lions game?
Yeah, I don't remember who it was. They beat somebody big. They were big underdogs. I can't remember. It might have been the Packers. But they love him. They rally around him. The Seahawks at this point, I think it'd be disrespectful not to put them at 1 when they have the record they have and they just beat the best team despite turning the ball over 3 times to them. I like the Seahawks as my number 1. Who's your 1?
Yeah, I don't hate it. You're going to hate my number 1. I wouldn't mind seeing a little rematch of these two teams. I got the Denver Broncos in my 1. I am all in on this team. We came on and we criticized Bo Nix heavily midway through the season, rightfully so. I think now it's time to credit Bo Nix. Now, you did say he's in a great scheme. That also goes to us. Sean Payton, phenomenal head coach, phenomenal scheme. He's up there with the greats. But Bo Nix, the last few weeks, I need to give him his flowers because some of his passes he's been making have been incredible. He's been feeding tiny windows. I think, in my opinion, for the most part, he's been making the right reads. He's been good scrambling. He's been good through the air. And then obviously that defense is phenomenal. And this was the game that I kind of had circled on the calendar as like, this is where Denver collapses, right? You go to a hot Green Bay team, Jordan Love playing one of the best quarterbacks in the league at the moment, if not the best, and what he's doing the last few weeks. And a very hot Packers team that has won some tough games, and you go in and you win, and you control the game. Just hats off to the Broncos for what they've done. 12-2 on the season. That's not an easy task to do. And at some point, all the close games and everyone talking about it being fluke, at some point it's not fluke, right? We saw it with the Chiefs this year, where last year they went yada, yada, yada in close games. And this year they did the opposite. Last year Chiefs went to the Super Bowl. This year they didn't even make the playoffs. So at some point it's not fluke. And I think what the Broncos are doing, especially in the fourth quarter, is winning football that can produce come postseason. So, and I think it is going to be heavy dependent on what their matchup is come playoffs. But I do think they can make a run come playoffs.
I agree. And I just wanted to say for the listeners out there, I did my top 10, and it was a sad realization, but I have the Eagles currently at 10. And they would have been 11 if it wasn't for a Micah Parsons season-ending injury. So
another sad one.
That was the only reason I really had for putting the Packers below the Eagles. Because if Micah Parsons was healthy, they would have been 11 for me. Bears are better. I also have the Jags above them, and I already mentioned that I have the Bills and the Texans above them. So, pretty scary.
Week 16 predictions. We've got another slate of exciting games. Now, we're going to do this a little differently, Chase. I just want you to rank watchability. So we're going to go in order of which ones are most watchable. I pick like the ones that are not super garbage.
Okay.
And I want you to give it to me in order. Okay.
And it's a blind ranking?
Yeah, we're going to do a blind ranking.
Okay, love it.
Okay. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games. So these are going to be 8 games that I'm going to most likely be tuned in. There might be one that kind of goes off and on here and there. At number 1, we got Bears, Packers. Bears are home.
Yeah, Bears are at home. I'm trying to think of the other games that you would have put on this list. I'm gonna put this one at. I'm trying to remember all the games. I'm gonna put this one at 2 because it has to be up there. It's awesome. Like
huge game.
Yeah.
Huge
I'm trying to
game.
think if I feel like I'm missing a game is the only reason. I can't actually think of the one I'm gonna put ahead of it. But just you never want to get rid of number 1 right off the bat.
Chargers, Cowboys.
Cowboys are a fun watch. It's good offense. The Chargers are a fun watch. I always love watching the Cowboys for a hate watch. I'm going to put this one at 6.
Okay. And then Vikings, Giants.
I mean, talk about 9 versus Dart. That's a movie in itself. You got 2 people that kind of go a little insano when they get on the field. One out there trying to truck everybody, the other one grittying into the end zone.
Ugly as gritty all time.
I'm not sure, I mean, obviously we know Dart is the truth, the chosen one, the future. And we know 9 is as soon as Kevin O'Connell's tired of him, he's probably never going to play again in the NFL. So, I'm going to go with this one at 7 just because it's 2 insanos.
Okay. Jags, Broncos.
Ooh, this one is a movie. I might have to put this one at number 1 because I'm down trying to think of if there's any other games that are above it. And I think the only one that would have been was the Thursday night game. So I'm going to put this one at 1. This one's awesome to watch.
So you have this,
if I could redo it, I'd probably have the
Bears.
The Bears Packers at 1. But since it was blind ranking, so I have to own it, I'm gonna put it at 1.
So this is gonna be interesting then. We have Bucks, Panthers.
This one, it's like
for the division.
Somebody has to win the division, and they play each other twice. So I guess it's not. I think technically, if the Bucks win, it's pretty much almost going to be dead. It's going to be really hard because I can't remember. The Bucks have like a relatively easy game in between playing the Panthers again. So I'm going to put this one. What do I have left? I have 5, 8. I have like 5, 8.
Right now you have 2, 6, 1, 2, 6, 7. So 3, 4, 5, 8.
I'll go 5 because stuff has a lot of importance, but I really don't think either of these teams are going to do anything.
Okay. And then next we have Patriots, Ravens.
I'm going to go 3 on this one because if the Ravens lose, it's, they're like getting to the point where they're starting to be serious doubts on them missing out on the playoffs. And Patriots, we want to see obviously more from them on playing good teams and beating good teams. And even though the Ravens record isn't there, they're still a good team. So yeah, what'd I say, 4?
You said 3.
Okay, I like 3.
Okay. Steelers, Lions.
So I have 4 and 8 left, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll put this one at 4. Because the Lions are a fun watch. They're hanging on by a thread here. They have to go 3-0. And I think even if they go 3-0, I think it's only like a 50% chance they get in. So I'm going to go with Lions and the Steelers, who are currently in the playoffs and need to keep winning, who are kind of boring to watch in my opinion. But I'm going to put them at the
playing good football lately, though.
Who did I put at the 8? Who did I put at the 8? Please tell me.
Niners, Colts. I knew you were gonna hate that one.
So the one thing that I will say that's fair is I like this one because of the Phillip Rivers story.
It's more.
Now
biased.
I will say the Colts offense was miserable to watch on Sunday. I think it's gonna be miserable again. I think the Niners are gonna blow them out. So this one, if I could redo it, would probably be. I might honestly have this one at 7. But I would definitely slide down that the 9 versus Dart matchup. But yeah, this one's my 8 then.
Yeah. I don't know if that was fun for the viewers, but that was fun for me.
I actually don't mind the rankings. Just my 1 and 2 need to be flipped, and my 7 and 8 need to be flipped, and I'm fine with it.
So I had, obviously knowing the list, I had Bears at 1.
Yep.
At my 2, I also had Jags, Broncos. Well, you had them 1, but I know you want them 2. At my 3, I had Steelers, Lions. I think this matchup's going to be electric. I think Steelers have been playing great ball. I think Steelers also are going to win this game to really hurt the Lions. I don't think Lions make the playoffs. At my 4, I have the Bucks, Panthers, Patriots, Ravens are at my 4. That's another very critical game. At my 5, I have Bucks Panthers. At my 6, I have Niners Colts. At my 7, I have Chargers Cowboys. And at my 8, I have Vikings Giants. So that is mine. And that is our preview for week 16. If you've made it this far, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, get this thing shared. Let's grow this channel. Help the boys grow over here. We are the Grid Aces, and we're out. Peace.